Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on ForSafeCom. We are thrilled to see so many of you here today interested in building a strong safety culture within your organization. Please note that this session is being recorded for those who may not be able to attend live today and for our future reference and to post on social medias. Before we dive in, I would like to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Jenna and I'm part of system team at Forest Consulting Services. Joining with me today is Kishon, who will be assisting me with the presentation. We also have Nazia here to help answer any questions you may have during the session. Please feel free to type them in the chat and we will address them throughout or at the end. So let's get started. So in today's agenda, we have a quick introduction to ForSafeCom, and then we have two sections. One will talk about the employee. Can you hear us now? Are we audible to all of you? Okay, perfect. So we have two sections today. One will talk about employee information, which includes onboarding employees, then training management, how we are going to manage employees' training records, and also will cover reference document, which is a placeholder for all the documents that needs to be referred by employees in the organization. The second section will cover our inspection form module, which includes a form builder, scheduler, non-conformities that arises during the inspection, how we handle it, and the dashboards that's part of the module as well. Finally, we will close off with a Q&A session. ForSafeCom goes beyond a traditional safety by focusing proactively on safety management in the workplace. Our system empowers organizations to prioritize employee well-being and to create a safe work environment. We are not just a digital document management software. We are a complete EHS software application. I really want to highlight on that fact because it's not just uploading documents and maintaining it. ForSafeCom will enhance your safety programs. It will be able to enhance your compliance. It gives you a data-driven insight, and also it improves communication across various levels of hierarchy in the organization, because we strongly believe that safety is not just an employer's responsibility or an employee's responsibility. It has to work both ways. Okay, so ForSafeCom is a platform that's designed to support the overall safety management. Now, how ForSafeCom can help us? So if you could be in any role, you could be an employee, you could be a supervisor, you could be a manager, you could be a business owner. Each one of you might contribute to safety in different ways. We have you covered, okay? So looking at this chart, if you look at it, business owners benefits from the productivity and a strong reputation. Managers gain control with better decision-making tools like our dashboards and statistics module. Supervisors can enjoy simplified tasks and real-time tracking through our communication system, which is very strong, which sends out notification from time to time about the real-time events. And employees can experience increased safety awareness and improve communication. Overall, ForSafeCom can improve your efficiency, improve safety, and also have a cost savings on the overall operations. These slides give you a quick overview of the different modules or the different products that we have on ForSafeCom. And we are very proud to say that we had experts from health and safety industry, our consulting team, who work closely with us all the time to keep our system in alignment with the OHS program. For example, like we work with them to understand the changes in legislation, the requirements in safety, and then we design the system accordingly so that you don't have to worry about the safety aspect of it. The system will tell you how to make sure you have a strong safety management system that to stay in compliance and be in compliance as well. Now, let's move on to the first section. So as I mentioned, in the first section, the first thing that we are going to see is employee information or employee onboarding. I'm pretty sure all of you would have at some point be either on the end where you're onboarding an employee or you're being onboarded. One of the things when it comes to safety is creating accounts, maintaining some of their information, and also trainings. Safety has a lot to do with training, online training, reviewing policies and procedures, taking sessions outside like first aid, etc. Right? For all these scenarios, we have you covered. We have our own LMS, a learning management system, which is built in-house. We have a graphics designing team that develops the training in-house. We have experts who review and provide feedbacks on the content of the training, and it is maintained in our own servers. Okay, so that's our online training. We also have policies and procedures that the employees needs to review from time to time in order to perform a task. So now, when it comes to assigning trainings during the onboarding time, based on their role or department or position, you may have to go through a list of all the trainings, policies, and procedures and select one by one and say, oh, employee A needs to take this training, employee B needs to take this training. But what ForSafe can do for you is create a training package. So we will be able to design training packages along with the employee profile so that once you go into the employee profile, there will be a drop down of packages. You can select one of them. It will assign all the required online trainings, policies and procedures that the employee need to take over the course of time in order to perform his or her task successfully. We also have an option where you can upload employee related documents and maintain them. For example, their photo ID or driving license, signatures can be maintained along with their employee profile. We can also associate organization items along with the employee profile. For example, let's say when they onboard with you, you might assign them a laptop. You might provide them an office cell phone, or you might assign them a vehicle. You can associate that with the employee's profile and have it tracked in their account itself. The other informations that can be maintained is disciplinary actions and injuries and claims. I want to bring to your attention that if your concern is a privacy, so maintaining disciplinary information and injuries and claims along with an employee information is a concern to you, we have you covered. So it goes by access and permission. So we can limit the access to either HR or a safety coordinator or whoever needs to see that information so that it's not visible to everyone. Now, one of the other process we support as well is the offboarding process where you will be able to suspend their accounts so that it become inactive and moving forward, they cannot access any information relating to the organization as well. Now, I'll pass it on to Kishan, and Kishan will be able to show us a quick demonstration on our ForSafeCom site.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be going over the employee information module and just to give you a basic rundown of how it exactly works. To access it, you would go on the home page and then you'll go to the employee information module. Inside the employee information module, you'll be shown the employee list. This is in case if you already have all the employees, then you'll be able to see all the employees listed out right here. But say the first step after you actually come to this page is usually have to add a new employee. In order to do that, you'll go to the left side and click add new employee, or you can do the quicker version and do the pre-register employee if you want to do basic information. So if I were to click add new employee, what I'll do is it'll take me to this new employee page. And then what you'll do is fill in the basic information for the general information, your employee information, type of employee, emergency contact, and then have that information filled in. But for more specific related employee information, what you would have to do is go through each of the tabs on the top. To start off, I would go on the online section. This is where you would actually assign all the online trainings. Individually, you could just click the check mark to actually assign the training. But sometimes you would want to have like the default worker training package or the supervisor training package, which is a bunch of courses that are specifically designed for specific user trainees. So if you click on the task sections, we have these packages created for you, which is usually by default the basic mandatory online training and the for workers and supervisors. What this means is if you click on it, it'll just one step apply all the related relevant courses to the employee themselves. This is just a quicker way. And then we also have something called task by position. This is even better because what you can do is you could have specific positions listed out. And then what I'll do is all of these packages, it'll group them together for that specific position. And then once you're done adding the basic online training, we also have something called the in-class courses. I'll go more into details later on, but basically in-class courses, if you have any external certificates, you could have it uploaded onto their profile, but right here, you could just do a quick enrollment so that you could quickly enroll them into the in-class course so that you could upload those files. Once you have filled in these 4 sections, what you would do is you would go scroll down and then click submit, and then it'll create the new profile. And then they'll show up on this list. In order to find the new profile, usually it's added to the top and it's going to be automatically sorted by added. Or if you want to actually search a specific user, you can use the advanced search option that we do have available on each page, on this page. So for example, I'm going to just go to the Forest admin demo. If I were to click on it, this will give me the basic information that I have already created. If I were to make any mistakes, what I can do is on the left side, we have something called edit employee. We would just click on that and then we can modify any of the information. Now we have the last 4 tabs that I didn't go over earlier because what is required is you have to first submit it and then you could come to this section. We have the documents tab in case if you want to upload any documents relevant to this specific employee. If you were to click on the type section, you could have specific information uploaded like a photo ID, driver's license, or a certificate permit, driver's training, any sort of info documents relevant to this specific employee, you could just have it uploaded right here and it'll be only shown for that specific employee. And then next we have the organization items. So this is more like in case if you had lend out an item or if they have an item assigned to them, you could have that information filled in here. So you have different statuses which you could choose like assigned, collected, reassigned, and so on. And then we could choose what type of item it is. You could always create a new value in case if you want to add a new item to this list. And then once there's assigned, you could just assign that item to the specific employee. And then we have the time off. In case if you have the time off module enabled, what you could do is have time off request available for any of the employees so that they can request time off if needed, and then it'll show up on their profile right here. And you could also see the previously submitted data of what have they already taken and the different types of vacations they've already taken. And lastly, we have the disciplinary action. In case you want to submit any disciplinary action for the specific employee, you can have it added right here on this employee's profile. Okay, so once we go over that, the next thing I want to just go over quickly is actually offboarding, like how she was Jenna mentioned earlier. So in case if you want to suspend an account, you could just do it through the profile, or if you want to mass suspend it, you could just check mark each of the sections, and then you could have it all disabled at one time. And we also have something called certificate takeaway if you want to download all the information at once. And I'll just pass it back on to Jenna to continue.
Okay, the next module or the product that we are going to see is the training management. Now that employees are onboarded, trainings are assigned, employees will start taking the training. Now it's one of our responsibility to go and make sure the trainings are happening on time, they're doing it if any follow-up is required. So we have a report called Training Matrix, which will give you an overview of all the information regarding trainings. not only online training, but also policies and procedures that they are supposed to acknowledge, and also any part of third party provided certificates. So one of the cool feature of FOSAFE form is that it can support third party provided certificate as well. For example, one of your employee has done first aid with a third party, we can still upload their trainings into our system and then track the information moving forward, so that when it comes for expiry, we will be able to notify. Now, talking about notifications. Employees are completing the training. Let's assume you have hundreds of employees. It might be very difficult for you to follow up with them individually. Even though you know you run a training matrix, you come to know. What we can do is we can have notifications sent out directly to their supervisors, informing them some of their trainings are coming for expiry. Now, if it's too much work for supervisors, if they wanted the employees to be directly notified, we can do that too. So we can initiate an email notification on a set frequency, let's say on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, to go directly to the employees so that they are aware of the trainings that's coming for expiry, and they can log into our system to complete it as well, so that the training management always stays in compliance. Now, another cool feature that's we have in ForSafeCom is the QR coded cards. I know one of the difficulties when it comes to any sort of compliance management is the amount of paperwork that needs to be done. There is so much of things that needs to be printed or PDFed and then shared over. So you have to PDF it either to the system, then send it through an email, or you may have to download a lot of certificates so that the employees can carry with them whenever it's required on the project site, right? Or on any location for that matter. What ForSafeCom have is a QR coded cards. Once you scan the QR code, it will be able to list all the online courses and in-class courses or policies and procedures that the employee have completed. So you will be able to get a quick view of what is happening in the employee profile. It's like a driving license that you can carry in your pocket. One of the coolest feature that we witnessed is one of our clients, they printed this QR card and put that in their hard hat, so that when they're entering a project site, they scanned it and they were able to get the information as well. Another thing is, like, now you don't have to download PDFs or print individual certificates, and if you have to share it with an external party like general contractors or someone where your employees are going to work as such. We have a feature in ForSafeCom where you can have multiple employees selected, and you can share in their training records directly with anyone from ForSafeCom system itself. So it can be done through ForSafeCom itself through an email as a PDF file, or you can multi-select and download files and keep them in folders for your reference as well. One of the things we are trying to eliminate is a lot of paperwork. So we have you covered in any sort of paperwork that is involved. Now I'll quickly pass it back to Kishan to show us how a training matrix will look like and how third-party certificates can be accommodated in ForSafeCom.
Okay. So in order to access the training matrix, what you would have to do is go to the home page and then go to the training management section. So inside the training management, we have the multiple different modules that you could click on. The training matrix report is the first thing we're going to go over. So in order to run the training matrix report, we'll have different sets of fields, which you could filter out the information based off of. So basically, by default, by the extra columns, you could just choose and select any of these columns so that all the information on the training matrix itself will be grouped up based off of that selected information. We do have options for actually how to view the report in case if you want to show extra stuff like the summary columns or sort by outstanding, such as those. And another thing we have is called show icon info as. I actually find this very important because in case if you want to see the expiration date directly on the report itself, you could change that to text. And if you want to just see it as a legend, then you could change it back to tooltip. Now, let me just quickly run a report and show you how that exactly looks like and what that means. I'm just going to keep clicking next just to show you. And then if you go scrolling down all the way to the bottom, you could generate different types of reports. We do have the option to email the report directly to the employee who's logged in, or we also have the option to create a CSV file in case if you want to download it as a CSV file. Now I'm just going to click on the generate print report just to show you how it looks. Now this is how the training matrix report would look like. On the top left, we would have the actual legend of what each of the icons mean. If we were to scroll down, we would have the list of all the courses. It will be color coordinated by each of the section mentioned inside the earlier filters, just in case if you want to split it between online, in class, and procedures. And then if you were to scroll down, you'll be able to see the actual information related to the each of their trainings. A good thing about this is not only will you be able to see the information, but if you were to go on the left side, you could actually click on their profile to actually access their profiles. So if I were to control F and find the Forest admin, which is right here, if I were to click on the Forest admin account, I'll be able to actually view the profile itself. So as Jenna stated earlier, if you were to go on the online section here, in case if you find any information that is missing, or like if you find any information wrong, you could edit their profile and add online courses. Or if their course is expired, you could come here and then you could just click on the reset button to reset the course. Or if they failed it, or renew in case if it's expired. And also another important thing is in case if they no longer need to access to a specific course, or you don't want it no longer to show up on the training matrix report once it expires, you can click the stop renewal button. Now, if I were to go back to the what's it called, the training matrix report. Report. Now, if I were to go over, you could actually, these are actually clickable. So in case if you want to view, like, for example, how they did or what their actual attempt is, you could actually click on any of these courses that's been completed or failed, and then it'll just take you directly to the revision or how they did or each of the questions. And then also you could see the expiration date if you hover over each of the sections. And then that covers the training matrix report. So if I were to, for example, have actually set it up so that I do it by like role, for example, and then go back and then generate the print report, it would actually categorize each of the section and just make it easier for you to view. And that covers the training matrix report. Now, let me go back to the training management and then go over these other modules. So we have something called a certificate design, which is actually where you would be able to see how long each of the expiration date of each of the courses is. For example, like WMIS is always by default, we have like 1 year, and then we have like online courses that are like 3 years. In case if you want that modified specifically to you, you could let us know and we could have that change for any of the courses. And then we have the in-class course section, which is actually where you would upload external third-party certificates. If you want to ever have that all located in one location, you could have it created right here. So if I were to click on this, you'll be able to find all the in-class courses that you already have enabled. But in case if you need to enable a new one, you could just click on add new in-class course and have that created. Once that's created, it'll come up on this list right here. And then you will be able to go on the chalkboard present on the site, right? And actually modify them. So once you click on that, you'll be able to see the classrooms or create sessions. In case if there's no session available for the specific course, you would have to create a new session. But if it's already available, you could just click on it. And then you can enroll any of the users right here. So in order to enroll them, you would just click on the 3P person icon and then just find the user and then push them to the right. Once they got pushed to the right, they'll automatically be enrolled and they'll show up like as like right here. And then you would just have to choose each of the status, the completed date, and then attach a document. And then it'll show up on their profile. If I were to go to in class, I just filled in this information. And then if I were to click on the review icon, you'll be able to see the actual uploaded file. And that covers the training management section. Let me just go back to the demonstration for Jenna to go over.
Okay, the next feature that we are going to look at is the reference document. Now that employees have reviewed the policies and procedure, but there are situations where they want to go back and check what has happened or to refer to a policy or procedure before performing a task, right? So in that case, we need a placeholder like a central repository or a library where you should be able to upload all the company specific documents like health and safety manual or uh, job hazard analysis, policies, procedures for that matter, so that the employees will be able to click on a button and view the information in one spot. And that's where FOSAFECOM reference documents comes in. It's a one-stop shop for all companies' file, accessible by everyone. And you can organize them effortlessly. You can upload all the documents and you will be able to manage your own documents without having to depend on any support. So even if there's a situation where a health and safety manual is modified, if there's 10 locations, you have to print 10 different binders and then move it on to 10 different locations. But with our reference document concept, you will be able to upload it into the folder and then have them access it from there. So it's one upload and all 10 different locations gets it. So employees can access it from anywhere at any point of time. Another cool feature that we are introducing is QR codes for reference documents. So instead of printing binders, you can have QR codes where employees will be able to scan it and look at different documents at different points of time. Now, Kishon will give us a quick overview of what reference documents mean in FOSAFECOM.
So to access reference document, we have the reference documents tab. So basically, this location is where you would upload all the company related documents that you want everyone in your company to see. We have two folders within it by default. The public folder, which is any relevant documents that Forest themselves will provide. For the most part, you're not going to be using this. But for the private section, this is where you would find all the documents that are relevant to you or where you would upload your documents. Now, if I were to click on the privates folder, I would be taken to this page right here, the reference documents section. So on the left side, in order to create a folder or upload a file, you would have to click on one of the two sections, create folders. So if I create a folder and I'll just name it test, for example, I would create that folder, and then what I'll do is create a folder so that you could easily manage all your documents into different sections in case if you want to have it more organized, or if you want to just have it directly on this screen itself, you could just upload the file right here itself. So if I were to choose files, go to test, upload file, then it'll just directly upload the file on the home page. All right, now I'll go back to Jenna.
Okay, now let's move on to the next section, which will cover inspection forms, from creating a template customized to your need to tracking information. So now let's assume you're signing up with FOSAFECOM and you wanted to use our inspection form module. The first thing is to set up the inspection forms. Whether you want to start from scratch or you want to build your own templates or you want to use our central repository, we have it covered. Now, that is what FOSAFECOM Form Builder can do for you. Now, once you've created the forms using FOSAFECOM Form Builder, you have our scheduler module, which will help you to schedule the inspections across various locations, departments, or projects so that the information is maintained in FOSAFECOM itself. Now, you have scheduled the inspections, employees have started doing the inspections, and there's data that's coming in. With the data, you will be able to do a lot of analysis, a lot of statistics comes out of it in order to improve your health and safety program, to improve your employees' well-being, to be in compliance and to stay in compliance. So we definitely need a data management, which is our statistics and dashboards module, which will give you an overview of what is happening across different locations or departments or projects based on the data that is provided in the inspection form. ForSafeCom Form Builder will allow you to create, modify, and implement your own safety forms. If you're worried like, oh, I don't have a template to start with, we have you covered. We have a repository of 100 templates from which you can start building your form. So you can pull a template from our central repository, and then you can start making the necessary changes to fit your organization. You didn't find a template that's very specific or suitable for your needs? Don't worry, you can also create forms from scratch. So we have a lot of fields and lots of options that you can use to customize and create your own form. We also make sure that every form that's created goes through and review and approval process, so that one person is kept accountable in order to approve the template that goes visible for employees to fill it out. We also have version control and revision histories tracked in ForSafeCom, so that you can go back and refer why certain changes were made over the course of time. Now, forms are created, approved, it's available for employees to fill out. Now, you want to schedule inspection that needs to be conducted on a monthly basis. You can use our ForSafeCom scheduler in order to schedule those events. It is very similar to any calendars like Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, but the difference is it can be interlinked to the inspection module. So you will be able to choose the required form that needs to be filled out and send it as an email along with the schedule that is created. So this way you will be able to avoid employees having to go in and search for the inspection form on ForSafeCom. It's there in their email. They just have to click and then fill out the information. Now we will have a quick demonstration to see how the form builder looks like and how our scheduler looks like.
To access the form builder, you would have to go to the inspection forms module. Within the inspection forms module, there's multiple different tabs, but the first one you're going to have to go through is the inspection forms administration. In the inspection forms administrations, if you have any forms already available, it'll show up right here. But say if you want to create a new form, or if you want to actually import a form from our repository, what you would have to do is go to the left side and click import form or create new form. So in this case, I'll show you how import form would work. So if I were to click import form, you would have to just choose your location, which would be default, whatever location you have created. But say if you have a child company, you could also choose the child company. Then you will choose the form type. So where is the form going to be located? This is by default the general locations, and each of the forms will be found in each of the sections. But for example, if I were to click site, and then I could choose the frequency on what I think the form is, or choose all if you're not sure exactly where the form will be located, and then click search, you'll be able to see all of our forms listed out. Before we actually import the forms, we have something called a preview button. Any of the forms that you see right here, if you click on the preview button, then you'll be able to see an example of actually how the form looks like. So if I were to click on this, I would be able to see that the abandoned log and tag checklist looks like this. And then if I think it's okay, I would just go back and I would import the form by clicking this page icon. If the page is, if it's already been imported, then it'll show that it's already been added. Otherwise, you could always import a new form. So now let me just show you what happens next. If you import or create a new form, what will happen is it'll create it in the draft stage. We have multiple stages of review that you're going to have to go through. Under this draft stage, what will happen is you will be able to go on it, and then you'll be able to edit the form as however you want it to be. For example, if I were to click on the edit form, this is the basic look, but if I want to add any fields or change any fields, I could simply go and click on it and drag it around wherever I want it to. If I want to remove a field, I could click on the trash can, remove it, simple as that. On the left side, we have multiple fields that we could add. So like under the general fields, we could add like text box, number, email, URL, so on. We have an option to add radio buttons or switches, which means it's like a multiple choice where you would select one button and then it'll just allow you to choose each of the sections. We have multi-check boxes in case if you have multiple boxes that you needed selected. We have the date and time section. we have the checklist. So this is a checklist right here in case if you're wondering. We have different types of drop downs. For example, we have the basic drop downs where you would see where you would be able to add any fields. And then we have actually drop downs based off of other sections of this inspection module. For example, the project list. If you have a project and you enabled it within our project form, what will happen is it'll actually in all the forms, it'll show up as long as you have the project list enabled. We have an employee list, which will get all the employees actually available on the 4S site as well. An employee with text in case if you want to actually add, manually add employees in case if there's any external employees. Then we have the picture options in case if you want them to upload any pictures, signatures, which is basically the same things, the drop downs, except what will happen is there'll be a signature and a date option to it. And lastly, we have special fields just to make this form look better. Once you have actually modified all this information, what you could do is change the revision info just to show that you've actually whatever modifications did, and then click save, and it'll just save on top of this. The next step is actually the review process. So if I like what I see and I want to actually go on to the next step and send this to someone off, send off this off to someone to review and acknowledge it, then what I'll do is click on the review and approval. And then from here, you could actually choose an approver. This person is the one that's gonna be the one that actually reviews it and has the final say in whether this is approved or not. And in this case, I'll just choose myself. And then we have the watchers. In case if you want anyone to be notified of the changes that's made, you could just choose select any of the watchers and then select them and they'll get notified as well. And then click submit. And then once you choose that, it'll go to the next stage. Send for review. If I go to the review section, then we'll see that. I'll go click on it, I'll review it, and then I'll click on the review and approval section. If I don't like anything, I'll write a comment and send it back to the user. Otherwise, I'll approve it, and then it will be go to the final stage where it will be in this, will actually show up in the actual active stage. And then from here, you could actually modify and change who you want to view, to be able to see it so that you don't have to show it to all of the form doesn't have to be shown to all the users, or you could have it shown just specifically just to ourselves in case if it's for a specific person. And that's how you'd add it. The next thing I'm going to cover is actually the scheduler. So once the forms are created, what you might want to do is have a set schedule that you want certain employees to have fill out the form. What you'll do is come to the scheduler and it's like an internal calendar that you'll have available. And it'll, if you actually schedule an event and actually select a form, it will do is it'll notify the employee that you have this form to fill out. So let me just schedule an event as a test, specifically to 4S admin. The event was, for example, if I were to say I have a form to fill, and then I would just go through the information and then select whatever the frequency is and so on. And then once all this information is filled out and I select which specific form I want associated with it, I'll go back and then it'll show up on this screen right here. And then once that's filled in, and if they ever fill out any of the form, what I'll do is I'll notify them based off of that schedule, like a 15 minutes or so, or like earlier than whenever it's scheduled, and let them know that they had to fill out this form. If they had to fill it out within a certain time period, and it'll actually notify, it'll actually show up inside this monitor section that they filled it out. Otherwise, you can monitor and see whether they filled out any of the forms that you've requested or not within that time period. And now I'll just go back to Jenna and she can continue.
Now that we have created the inspection form templates, we have scheduled it with different employees to complete them at different point of time. Now the employees can go in and access the inspection forms either two ways. If it's a scheduler, they'll get an email notification, they can click on the link and access the form. Second is we also have a control panel where the employees will have access to. They can go into the control panel, click on the forms and then access the information. The control panels will show the forms that only the specific forms that the employees have access to. So if there's 75 forms, they're not going to see all the 75 forms. It's going to be very specific to the ones that they need to fill up. Now, our forms include a lot of different fields such as text area, text boxes, pictures, and everything that is part of it, as Kishon was able to show us from the form builder. So any fields from the form builder side navigation panel, you will be able to create a form with that. Now, when an employee is filling out a form, there are chances that he or she might identify a non-conformity or something that's not okay. They have an option to create a task for it to be fixed. Let's say they are inspecting and one of the lights are not working and they know who to assign to. There is an option which Kishon will be able to show us in a few minutes, called to do. They can click on it, create a task, and once a task is created, it will send an email notification to the assigned to employee, and they will be able to take care of the task accordingly. This way, any non-conformities that is identified during an inspection are taken care of right away during the inspection itself. This is how a task or a to-do that's assigned from the inspection form might look like on the employee's end. So they will have a list that they needs to be taken care with different color coding to say whether it's assigned, completed, whether it's overdue, and they will be able to go look at the details by clicking on the link that relates to the inspection form, and they will be able to track the information in the system as well.
And now I'll just go over a demonstration of how the form inspection forms look and how it would be affected with the to-do items. So once I click on the inspection forms module, what I will go under is I'll scroll down onto the inspection control panel. If I click on the inspections control panel, I'll be shown to this control panel. This control panel is different for everyone because you may have specific forms specifically assigned to specific users, or you may have specific forms assigned to specific roles. So it'll be slightly different for everyone how it looks. But this is how it would look by like, for example, for me. Now, if I were to scroll down and click on, for example, maybe like the weekly site inspection, what you'll be shown is a form that looks like this, or if you have the newer version 3 form, it will look like I think was it bandsaw body harness. Oh yeah, there it is, bandsaw. So it'll look like this. So what you'll have to see is that there's different fields that for each of the sections. Everything that's marked red means that it's mandatory fields. And everything that has no mark on it, it might mean that it's not mandatory. So if you were to actually go scrolling down and fill in each of these information by maybe clicking on it and then seeing if there's a drop down, select the drop down. If you were to fill in the dates and then come down to the serial number, choose a serial number, we have something called the checklist. So this is where any non-conformity items will be located, or in case if there's anything that's wrong, you'll be able to assign it to specific users. What you'll do is you'll just fill in all these information, but see if the power cable inspection, you notice that there's an issue with it. What you'll do is click fail, and then you'll be able to add a comment and say that the cable has been cut or something like that. And then you can add a picture in case if there's anything wrong with it. You could write any information directly onto this picture, click OK. And then you could either assign it here or later on within the dashboard, which we'll speak about momentarily, you could assign it there. So if I were to click on this, I'll just assign it to myself and say that power cable has issue. And then I'll put the due date as tomorrow and the priority high and assigned. And then I'll just click submit. Now it's submitted to my profile. So now if I were to go back to the home page, oh wait, let me first submit this form. First, just sign this and then click submit. Now if I were to go to the home page and then click on the to-do module, it will actually show a number if there's any to-do items listed, and then click on the to-do module. You'll be able to find the form here. So I will go all the way down, which is my latest form, and it'll show that I have power cable has issues assigned to me. It'll even show what module it's relevant to, which is inspections form. And then if I were to click on it, I could go and actually go to the source, which will show me the form that's been submitted. And then you could just fill it in. If you complete it, you could click complete, and then it will show that you completed the assignment. Now, if I were to go back to Jenna, she'll go over the next.
Now that the employee is doing the inspection, they identify non-conformities, but they're not sure who to assign it to. So they won't be able to create a task and assign it to anyone. In that case, what will happen is we have a tracker called non-conformity tracker, which will populate all the non-conformity items that have been identified in one spot. So even if it's not taken care during the inspection, one of you who's managing the safety system will be able to go in and assign those information to the right individuals so that they can take care of it. Other features that we support is the dashboard, which includes all the statistics of various informations that have been gathered over a period of time, like how many inspections are being done in a project, how many data is coming over a period of time. So we will be able to give you representations on various aspects, like if you like a bar chart, pie chart, or different types of graphs that shows up the information as required. So based on the information, you will be able to do different type of analysis, and you will be able to provide information to the statistics information to the managers or business owners as well. This way, you will be able to manage a complete inspection management in one spot, which is for SafeCom. We will see a quick overview of how the non-conformity tracker looks and how our dashboards look, and then we will move on to the discussion.
Okay, to access the dashboard, you would have to go to the statistics and reports. This is basically where you would find all the overall view of all the information basically in stats format of the 4S site. So when you get in, you'll first be able to see like a basic graph and the accidents and non-conformity to-do items or playlist, basic information on the main dashboard. We do have different tabs for each of the different types of reports we have. So as Jenna said earlier, if we were to, for example, go to the general safety statistics, we'd be able to get our data for a specific form, see what has been submitted, and get the information. If we were to say, click on this, we'd be able to see the information of what forms has been submitted. But say if we go back, there's a specific tab called non-conformity tracker. This is where you would go to see all the non-conformity items that's been submitted. So if I were to click get data, the data that I just submitted today, which is the non-conformity I submitted today, you can see it show up right here. Or, yeah, right here. So as you can see earlier, I already assigned it to myself and I already showed that I was completed. So it shows up as completed. But say if you want to assign a new one, like you can see up here, you can see that this one has not been assigned and has to be still completed. What you can do is on the right side here, we could add a to-do item and assign it to a specific user. So I would say that I have an issue, fix the issue, for example, and then I will put the to date again as tomorrow and then assign it to the specific user, which is myself. And then as you can see, if I were to go and run this report again, it would show that it's been assigned. So basically, once it's been assigned, if you were to go back to the to-do items, you'll be able to scroll down and you'll be able to see the new item that's been assigned to me. Now, let me just go back to.
So another feature that we have is the HR management system called Cognum that seamlessly integrate and directly access from ForSafeCom. We cover the from onboarding employing to training management, policies management. Especially with policies management, you will be able to build policies specific to your organization based on the templates that's available in our central repository, similar to our form builder where you have hundreds of templates that you can use for HR forms, timesheet, time off, performance evaluation, and much more. So this is a will be integrated with ForSafe forms so that you will be able to manage your safety needs as well as your HR needs in one place. Having said that, we would like to move into the discussion part. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it on chat and then we will be able to answer it.